This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
Wrapping up week one of the college football season, ESPN's College Football Primetime, sponsored by Capital One, part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week, about to start the third quarter at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. Louisville on top of Miami, 14-10, the ACC on ESPN. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollack here. Both quarterbacks making their first start. You just saw Will Gardner from Louisville. Brad Kaya, a true freshman, starting for the Canes.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of bad, but a lot of good. You see here, bad throw here. It ended up being a lateral. Forced a big turnover for Louisville, but then a beautiful throw, dropping it down the chimney to his tight end, Clive Walford, would follow it up with another nice touchdown pass here in the back of the end zone. I've been impressed with the true freshman from Miami.
And then Will Gardner, the other guy, getting his first start on the other side, replacing Teddy Bridgewater. And had some bad moments, had some bad throws, step up in the pocket, got to cover that ball up. But then over the middle of the field, he did a lot of damage and made some good plays. Made some good plays scrambling, buying time, and finding his receiver.
Second half's underway. Kickoff goes out of the end zone. So Kaya will start on the 25, and Samantha Ponder's with us on the Miami sideline.
Yeah, Reese, I spoke to Al Golden and asked him to assess Brad Kaya. He said other than the start of the game, he really settled in and wasn't nervous at all. He put together that one good drive. He said the biggest key for the offense going forward is trying to find their running game. He said we have to be much more patient running the ball and pay attention here, because he said we're definitely going to take some shots downfield.
Hey.
That's exactly what Jesse Palmer's been wanting. Both teams rushed for exactly 46 yards in the first half. They'd like to get Duke Johnson going. Johnson breaks one tackle, pushes up close to the 30. First half stats were relatively even. I mentioned completely even in rushing, 46 yards for each team on the ground. The passing yards favored Louisville just a bit. No third down conversions for Kaya.
That's a problem right now, and that's why you've got to get the running game going a little bit with Duke Johnson. Make these third downs more manageable. Remember, they were 0 for 11 on third down in the bowl game. Not much better today.
So over their last 19 against that Louisville defense, which was stellar last season, has been awfully good this time around too, and Hurricanes will have an early chance to convert a third down.
Well, that's welcome too. Now you get a third and short. You didn't have any of those in the first half either, because you didn't rush the ball real well. But how about getting Duke Johnson out in some space too? We've seen him dynamic on screen plays, and he only ran to the perimeter one time, but this is where you got to give it to the big boy, right? Number 7.
Yeah, I've got Gus Edwards in the game right now. Two-back set. Gus got stuffed in the backfield in a short yardage situation earlier. And he broke one tackle from Malden. He got up there close to the first down, but again, he had company in the backfield quickly.
Look at all the bodies near the line of scrimmage. Look at this. You got everybody all in here. You got one corner on the outside covering and a safety rolling to him. I mean, it's a lot of guys you got to block. Bobby Petrino went for it on his own end on the 30-something yard line to see if Al Golden feels like he can do that too.
Guys, there are two numbers that keep flashing in the backfield. 98, Sheldon Rankins, and Lorenzo Malden, 94. Miami has not had an answer for either of those two big bodies up front all game long.
The play clock is hit 0 in this.
5 yards. 4th down.
Back Justin Vogel up 5 more yards. Ty De La Cruz is the deep man to return the punt for Louisville. Vogel punting in his first game for the Hurricanes. Gets it out of there. De La Cruz has it. Excellent coverage by Miami. No return. Ronald Regula there to put him down. These two teams met in the final game of last season in the Russell Athletic Bowl in Orlando. There was a little jawing early, but Teddy Bridgewater pretty much quieted the Hurricanes from that point on. Bridgewater throwing for a career-high 447 yards. And after falling behind 2-0, Louisville ran off 36 in a row. Final score was 36-9. Charlie Strong's last game as the Cardinal head coach. Hurricanes much more competitive tonight. Will Gardner back at the helm. Wanted to take a shot, getting a lot of pressure, and the football's loose on the ground. I'm not sure Miami realizes it, and another guy came in and picked it up. Raphael Kirby grabbed it. I think that was Thurston Armbrister who knocked it free and then didn't realize it was sitting right behind his rear end. Had a teammate come pick it up, and what a great opportunity for Miami to take the lead, forcing the turnover.
Ball security's been the biggest issue for Will Gardner. You heard Bobby Petrino tell Sam at halftime, he's got to understand to put the football onto his chest and understand when the play's dead. He's just flopping it around like a loaf of bread in his right hand. Miami players are swatting at it. That's the second time he's been sacked and lost possession of the football. Just simply cannot happen.
Armbrister, that ball was right behind him. Kirby was all over it and saw glory, but Gardner was hanging on for dear life.
Kirby wanted it. He just couldn't get to it.
So the turnover's a huge one. Miami back in the red zone. Duke Johnson, he's knocked down in the backfield. And just as Jesse said, it's Malden in the backfield.
Yeah, and again, where do you want Duke Johnson to go? I mean, there's no space. They're bringing everybody into the box, and we've talked about Rankin and Malden, all those guys up in there dominating the line of scrimmage.
He's a really good fit at outside linebacker, isn't he? For a guy that
especially with Todd Grantham. He does a great job. Think about Jarvis Jones and Floyd. Justin Houston, he features those guys well.
During Grantham's time at Georgia as a defensive coordinator. And the Louisville defense has been put in a tough spot right here, and they're asking the crowd to get behind them. Johnson looking for the edge. 3rd and goal coming. Keith Kelsey on the stop.
Sorry, Reese. Good push up front, but again, watch the speed. Watch how quickly these linebackers for Louisville get over to the outside and get that body on the ground. That's Keith Kelsey, Jr. I played with his dad. He's a linebacker at Florida.
Oh,
Junior, 35. Tell you what, he looks good. He just looks just like his dad, being able to run sideline to sideline, make some of these plays. Well, I like the idea of getting speed and getting Philip Dorsett, an impact player, with the football in his hand. It was a pass-run option, but speed kills, and speed can counter speed. Watch this. They're trying to outflank Louisville's defense. They get number 91 outside, but there's Sample. JUCO transfer, originally played at Washington. There's a lot of guys that can run on this Louisville D.
Good is trying to bring it to within 1, so Miami does get the field goal, but after forcing a sack and fumble and getting the ball at goal-to-go territory, having to settle for 3 is a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow for the Hurricanes. It was tremendous defensive play by Armbrister. Kirby scooped it up, and the Canes are within 1. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Got a good one in the Derby City. Louisville with a 14-13 lead on Miami. And while Will Gardner made a bad play to allow the ball to be stripped away, just wagging it around with one hand, he saved 4 points by hanging on to Raphael Kirby's leg. Look at this. Just kept holding on. Finally got him on the ground, and the Louisville defense forced a field goal attempt. He doesn't make that stop. It's a touchdown.
That's why I love you, Reese Davis.
Because I'm a glass half full kind of guy?
Half full kind of guy, yeah.
I'm just saying that he made chicken salad out of something else.
And a tackle. Is that another stat we can give him? Game of inches, Reese Davis, David Pollack. Sam Potter, game of inches.
Well, I just think Brown would have tackled him anyways, but that's not the point.
Why do you always want to take a trip? You always want to take a trip to negative town.
Well, speaking of, why does Miami run the ball 6 straight times and not try to throw it a little bit?
It's a good question for the next time they get it. 14-13, Louisville with the lead. Gardner coming back out. We've got more coverage of the FIBA Basketball World Cup on ESPN2. United States taking on New Zealand. and is tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You also see it on the Watch ESPN app if the boss won't let you skip work. First and 10, Louisville to the ground with Dominique Brown.
And they need to do more of this. You saw them early. Brown was having a lot of success, especially when they had that long touchdown drive. They stayed balanced. They came out with, right there, they had 2 tight ends and a fullback in the game. You got a big tailback. You got to use it, especially when your quarterback keeps making some bad decisions, not holding on to the football.
Not protecting the football. Calls to mind the words of my weekend partner, Lou Holtz, who used to tell players, you dropped it and you didn't pick it up and you let them get it. Gardner's done that a couple of times tonight. This time he's right on target, a short completion. He's tied in Gerald Christian. And the third down is coming up.
And in fairness, too, guys, let's give Miami some props on defense also. We talked about how much they've struggled the last 3 years. Mark D'Onofrio's group, they've only given up 7 points in this game. Remember, Louisville scored in the kick return touchdown. So, you know, this is a much improved looking unit from what we've seen the last several years also. And they've been able to keep, you know, obviously come up with big turnovers at opportune moments.
Which is another thing that he talked about had to improve.
Yeah.
We had their game last year. Remember the year before they only had 15 turnovers. Last year they cranked it up a little bit. But that's part of that's getting more aggressive. And you've seen them do it.
Well, how about right here? How about some pressure right here?
Umbrister showed it. He was spying and waiting on Gardner, and Gardner throws it. What a good, strong catch with the hands. Michael Lee Harris, who had a big drop in the first half, held on to that one, even though Deion Bush put a hit on it.
And I don't think Will Gardner gave him a choice. I mean, this would have been in his throat or his face mask if he didn't catch that with his hands. That was an absolute bullet. But nice, strong hands by Michael Lee Harris.
That he's had multiple knee injuries over his career. Good job by Harris. A little running room for Brown as he gets up across the 50-yard line. Tough run for the senior from Cincinnati.
Running the ball has always been a staple in Bobby Petrino's offenses. You go back to when he was a head coach here, 3 of the 4 years, he had 3 different running backs go over for 75 or more carries in a season. We talked at the top of the show, Michael Dyer, remember him, as the MVP of the 2010 national title game. He's hurt. They need to get him back because they're going to need a committee approach, I think, this year when it comes to running the football, help out Dominic Brown.
Petrino said yesterday that prior to that quad bruise, that Dyer was starting to look like the old Michael Dyer that Petrino had seen since his days in high school and certainly during the time that Dyer was at Auburn. Not only Michael Dyer out, but Devontae Parker, their best wide receiver, is going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. He has a broken bone in his left foot. And certainly he was a weapon. He caught a touchdown pass in the bowl game last year against Miami.
Changes the game. A lot of draft experts think he might be the first receiver taken. Big receiver, big wingspan, speed. He ate Miami up alive last year.
A third down call in the backfield. They're not going to get close. You know who, Denzel Perryman. If you clicked on the YouTube helmet cam deals, too bad he didn't have a helmet cam on right there. You'd see a collision.
It looked a lot like you saw the collision in the spring game, but unbalanced again by Louisville on the left side of the line. But watch Seaball. Look at him get skinny, getting a crack. A lot of linebackers don't do that. Take that first space, get through there, and come with some bad intentions.
And the speed to get there, too. Yeah. I mean, he gets there in a hurry. Explosive player.
You had plenty of guys on that side to block the number of guys on Miami's side. But when you do that and make a great play, there's nothing you can do about it.
Perriman has 7 tackles, 3 tackles for loss.
Fumble.
Yep.
Right.
The type of game he promised when he said he didn't plan to go 0-2 against Louisville. Coley fakes the fair catch and very nearly a perfect punt, but it rolls into the end zone for a touchback. Denzel Perryman just made a big stop in the backfield. We told you about him wearing a helmet cam in the spring. You'll see what a real linebacker collision looks like when you come back. Denzel Perryman's been setting his hair on fire and causing wrecks tonight.
Yeah, you talk about an inside linebacker that's moving like that. He's quick, he's fast, he's instinctive. And look at the spring game. That looks familiar, didn't you?
Yes,
you
does.
just saw it. How about this? You want to play linebacker?
Wearing the helmet cam.
You want to play linebacker? There you go.
Yeah, but there's playing linebacker and then there's playing linebacker.
And he plays linebacker.
And this guy plays linebacker. Ray Lewis type linebacker. That may be a lot.
Kaya has Dorsett out there and couldn't quite make the connection as Miami takes a shot. D'Angelo Brown was applying some heat.
Doesn't matter. 6 straight runs. Very conservative play calling. That's a great job on first down. Taking a shot to your speedster. They need to do more of it to get more guys out of the box because Louisville's been making a living with 8, 9 defenders in the box.
And it really puts you under pressure if you're Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator for Louisville, guys, because conventional wisdom says blitz the true freshman.
Yeah.
Let's speed the game up. But if you're sending more guys, you've got less guys in the back end. And with guys like Philip Dorsett and Stacy Coley and Duke Johnson out there, you don't want to risk one-on-one situations and potentially give up explosive plays.
Look at the box again.
Stack.
Pretty much daring them to take shots. Duke Johnson knocked down for a huge loss. James Burgess, who's had a terrific night, making the stop.
I'm Duke Johnson. I'm just frustrated. You know, he just needs a little crease and he can make that big play. There just hasn't been any. I try to get him the ball on a screen or something else. Where are you going to go? You don't need a helmet cam to see that.
You see, but I mean, you got Daniel Isadora, who is getting a hat on him. He just can't execute the block. I'd say that
Mom's frustrated too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lack of execution going on right now. It's not just numbers in the box for Louisville. It's also lack of execution up front on this offensive line for Miami.
3rd and 15. Oh, the freshman put the ball in harm's way. Charles Gaines was on the coverage, and Miami will have to punt. Gaines is the guy who's never shy about talking. In fact, he said before the bowl game, we went through the Miami coaches line asking him why they didn't recruit him. He's from Miami. He's got a little bit to crow about after that one. 6th time tonight, Miami's gone 3 and out. Vogel to punt. Wobbly kick. Fair catch is made just short of the 50 by De La Cruz. So Louisville has the ball in a 1-point lead, and Miami can't get the Duke going. Burgess right in his grill. The Hurricanes is down by 1. Freshman quarterback Brad Kaya has not been able to get Miami to convert a 3rd down tonight. And on 2 games against Louisville. Didn't convert one in the bowl game either. An 0 for 9 tonight. As a result, Louisville has the ball back. Its best field position starting on its own 49. Will Gardner gives it to Dominique Brown. Miami defense is there after a gain of about 1. And back to Brad Kaya winning this job. I'm
really impressed he won it in the first place. True freshman, doesn't come in the spring, got here in the summer. So he only had 13 weeks to understand a pro-style offense with all these different concepts in the run game, the pass game, the fronts, the coverages, protections. And he beat out a guy in Jake Heaps who started 25 games. It's remarkable.
Will Gardner's pass is complete. He's making his first start of the night. A tremendous effort to pick up the first down. Now, to wrap up, if you're just joining us, how Kaya came to be the quarterback. Ryan Williams was slated to be the starter, was injured in the spring. Kevin Olson's been around, suspended for a violation of team rules. And then Kaya beat out Jake Heaps, and Jesse mentioned the games that Heaps started. He started those games at BYU, where he started his career, and Kansas, where he played last year. He's a graduate transfer. Kansas changed its offense, and he wanted to play in a pro-style system. James Quipp has it down close to the 30-yard line.
I think Miami needs to continue to challenge Louisville's receiver on the outside. Again, Devontae Parker's not out there. That last completion, there was at least a 10-yard cushion from Tracy Howard at cornerback. You got to get up in these guys' face, make them prove to you that they can beat you deep downfield, because we haven't seen that happen in this game yet.
2nd and short, might be time to take a shot at the end zone. Come back and run it on 3rd down. What say you, Potluck? Throwing it deep?
I like it.
I love the way you guys think.
Nope. They do pick up the first down. Some good hard running by Dominique Brown. Kamalu ended up making the stop. After breaking a tackle in the backfield, Petrino's team moves the chains.
It's been a lot harder to run the football since that second drive. Miami's done a great job up front. They've adjusted and done well. Stunting guys, moving guys, blitzing.
Louisville only one offensive touchdown tonight, trying to get another good throw from Gardner and another completion again to his tight end Gerald Christian.
A lot of the space has been over the middle of the field that we've kept saying, and Gerald Christian, I think, does a very good job transitioning in and out of routes. We talked about how smooth he is. You're just going to see him, number 18 at the top, just running an out route. And against Denzel Perryman, who's a much smaller linebacker, he's had issues one-on-one when he's been covering the bigger tight end. He's a run stuffer. We've seen that tonight. He hasn't done so well in space cover.
From the 15, Cards back to the ground. Big hole into the end zone goes Dominique Brown. A good job by the Louisville offensive line, and Brown takes it to final 15. That side of the line has opened it up. Good job by John Miller, number 70. Christian got a good block after making the big catch.
I think that was on Denzel Perryman, too. Climbed up in the second level, showing you he's not just a good pass catcher, he can be physical in the run game.
Extra point coming, and it's true, and Louisville's lead is 8 with 3:34 to go here in the third quarter. First night as a member of the ACC in football, and Louisville trying to get a win, and Dominique Brown rumbling easily into the end zone. Put the Cards up even more. Louisville just put together a very efficient 51-yard drive, capped off by a 15-yard touchdown run from Dominique Brown, and the Cardinals with a 21-13 lead on Miami. And Brad Kaya, the freshman quarterback, going to try to get his team back on the field. And I mean, the best thing for them is to avoid third down situations altogether, but Miami has not been able to convert any of them so far tonight. John Wallace getting set to kick it away. Coley driven to the back of the end zone. It'll come out to the 25-yard line, and that's where Kaya and the Canes will start their third down issues.
Yeah, and you've seen it. You've seen it in short yard situations when they've tried to run the ball. The line of scrimmage been owned. You've seen it in long situations when they've tried to pass. They haven't been successful. How about a reverse? Run, pass, reverse. Nothing's worked so far. It's been a struggle for their offensive line and their quarterback.
I like that this Louisville defense, guys, has not given up a lot of explosive plays. And they're forcing a true freshman quarterback on the road to lead his team 10, 12, 14 plays to put points on the board. Louisville's been great in the red zone when they've been on a short field and sudden change. Forced a turnover, gave up a field goal. Todd Grantham's calling a very good game tonight.
Grantham will move to Louisville from Georgia, where he coordinated the defense. And Mark Rick. Kaya look downfield and then dumps it off to Duke Johnson. A short tackling from Burgess.
And they'll give them that all day. You know, keep the football in front. We've seen tremendous team speed on defense. You take a look at the three-headed monster for Miami, and Philip Dorsett, Clive Walford, and Stacy Coley. Walford had 2 catches back-to-back, but with the exception of Dorsett's deep crossing route, really not a lot going in the deep passing game for Miami.
Dorsett watching now, and there's Coley. Kaya, nobody in particular. Malden was applying the heat.
And that's horrible protection again. And throwing another guy, too. You did the three-headed monster receiver, but Duke Johnson's another guy. Yeah. It's the first time they threw it out of the backfield to him, but hadn't had any success rushing either.
So the Canes going to try it again on third down. Dating back to the bowl game against Louisville. 0 for their last 20. Blackout crowds alive, and Miami's been pretty much blacked out on third down. Pressure coming. Walford makes a great catch in the first third down conversion of the night. That big Clive Walford, who has a touchdown.
somebody just had to make a play. They did a nice job getting the blitz picked up, giving Kaya time to step into the throw. He's a really good weapon, Walford is. Mismatch on smaller defensive backs like safety Gerard Hallman right there. He's a guy they need to start looking for more often.
1 for 10 on 3rd down now. It's 10%. A little tip for you. That's not going to get it done. Kaya trying to get underneath it, and it's intercepted by Sample. The freshman just flat underthrew it. Sample went and got it, and another turnover for the Canes.
Todd Grantham fired up. His defense has come up big in big moments. Huge turnover, and you nailed it on the head. This is an open receiver. If he leads him down the field, puts more air under it, like the first throw he had to Clive Walford. But, David, there's another example of team speed on defense. Yeah, I mean, Sample able to close the gap.
Yeah, but it's a horrible throw. Yeah. I mean, there was 2 guys open. You could have thrown the Dorsett closer than that, too, and got the first down. That's just a bad job. He tried to get his feet squared up and make a play, but it's just a terrible throw.
And if he puts that thing on Dobar, Dobar might still be running. Speaking of still running, James Quick is for Louisville. And the Cardinals back inside the 40.
And back-to-back possessions where you start at midfield. Remember, Louisville was backed up the whole first half. Limits what you can do. Now they got the offense rolling with good field position. Grantham should be happy, too, for causing the turnovers.
And Gardner's had a couple of miscues, putting the ball on the ground when pressured, but 16 of 23, efficient passing the ball. Short gain on 1st down for Brown.
I like it. Yeah, I know it's not a lot of yards, but I'm staying committed to the running game if I'm Bobby Petrino and Louisville, just leaning on this defensive front 7, starting to get your bigger bodies up front. You just got the ball back very quickly in this defense. Now you're starting to see some guys with their hands on their hips. Getting a little bit tired. This offensive line has a chance to take this game over here in the second half.
Gardner starting to feel a little rhythm. Close to field goal range. Taylor Cruz on the grab, so 3rd down coming up for Gardner. Pretty balanced in terms of play selection. Run it a little bit more than they've thrown it, but they have not necessarily run effectively. Kaya working on the sidelines, hoping he's going to get another chance while it's still a 1-possession game. This is a big play for the Miami defense.
Gotta be thinking middle of the field here if you're Miami on D.
Keep it on the ground. Brown got some room. Thought for a second Dominique wasn't going to put his foot in the ground and get upfield soon enough, but he did. Very patient. James Quick, the receiver, got a good block out there, and it's a 1st down for the Cards.
That's 240 pounds that you got to consistently tackle over and over and over. A big offensive line leaning on you. From Louisville, I'm liking this.
And, you know, that's a factor wearing you down as well. Yeah. Like you said, right? Not just the offensive line, but a big back like Brown.
Well, that's one of the factors that Al Golden said contributed to the defensive struggles last year. It's what we talked about on offense, a failure to stay on the field very long. Perhaps we're seeing signs of that right now as Brown burst into the Hurricane secondary on what is probably the final play of the 3rd quarter. Dominique Brown, who had the touchdown run, followed Ryan Mack, and the Cardinals are threatening again. This is ESPN's College Football Primetime, sponsored by Capital One as part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. The final game of the first weekend, Cardinals up by 8 and threatening as we go to the 4th. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Louisville's debut as a member of the ACC in football in front of a Papa John's Cardinal Stadium record 55,428, all dressed in black. And looking to see if their Cardinals can go up by 2 scores, 21-13 as we start the 4th quarter. Louisville with a 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line of Miami. Will Gardner's hit all 6 of his passes in the second half. Back to the ground. Dominic Brown picks up one. He's over 100 yards tonight.
I wouldn't stop if I were Louisville. I would just keep grinding it out. Put those big guys up front and lean on them. You've seen him gash him a couple times now. But now in the fourth quarter, where these games are won and lost, oftentimes up front in the line of scrimmage, let this offensive line take over.
It's the 10-yard line. Wonder if David brought up a little while ago that Miami defense is getting a little bit gassed. Thinking offensive line.
False start. Number 53 on the offense. 5 yards. Second down.
Jake Smith, All-American Conference first-team performer last year when Louisville played in the AAC. Prior to their move, a little quick to pull that time.
It's a big break for Miami. Now you got them backed up. I think if they get a touchdown here, the ball game's over. Maybe because it's still a one-possession game right now. You hold them to a field goal, you got a chance. Now your offense has been pretty bad so far.
You know, the offense has been non-existent largely in this half of Miami. Gardner just throws it away down the sideline, and again, he was getting heat from Olsen Pierre, but he's fumbled a couple of times tonight, and that wasn't exactly taking care of the football either.
You are going to give Bobby Petrino a heart attack on the sidelines right here. I mean, at this point in juncture in the game, David just told you the situation. If you score some points, you've got to be smart and be careful. Understand, of course, you don't want to take a sack. You got to be able to throw that football away early, live to play another down. You just can't start recklessly heaving footballs down into the end zone. I mean, that could have been disastrous for Louisville.
So you're going to get a draw here then?
Well, they're going to let him throw it, but it's going to be safe. Tunnel and bobbled and
save.
Yeah. Eli Rogers had it, and then he didn't, and then he did again, and he didn't, and finally he got it.
But you're right, it is safe. A draw or a screen. Don't throw the ball far down the field so you don't have a chance to turn it over. And the way your defense is played, I don't think you're angry. You're fine. You probably don't think they could score once, more or less twice.
And John Wallace can make this a two-possession game if he can knock it through from 28. For his career inside the 40, he's 32 of 35. So historically, this has been money. And it is again. Two-possession game. Petrino's return, he has an 11-point lead and 13-11 to go. See how much the freshman has to say about changing this down the gut of the game for Miami. Kaya picked off last time. He'll try to get something going when you come back for Al Golson.
Don't kill him.
Lights of the city of Louisville across the river. A Derby City, capping off the first weekend of college football here in the ACC. Reigning national champion and ACC champion Florida State had to hang on against Oklahoma State down in the Cowboys Classic. The Hat got a good fourth quarter from Kenny Hilliard to come back against Wisconsin. Todd Gurley vaulted right to the top of the Heisman discussion with his brilliant performance against Clemson, and
he's still running.
What about the guy underneath him?
Kenny,
which one?
Hill.
Kenny Hill.
511 yards.
Brent called that game, didn't he?
He did. With a hump.
Yes, he was on that call. Casey Coley. It's out to the 29-yard line. Coley with a valiant effort. Almost making that a big return. Jameis Winston threw a couple interceptions, but boy, he had a couple of really important runs.
I didn't know he could run like this. L-button. He never showed that last year.
You did know Gurley could run like this,
Who wants to take the Snickers challenge in the open field? Come on. It's like tackling a tree stump.
I think perhaps no one, I'm not going to say no one in Orange wanted to. They just weren't in actual position to be able to do so. Now a little running room for Duke Johnson. That's been a rarity tonight. Close to the 40-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down, pick up of 11.
And here's the thing, 9-point game, and I know Brad Kai he's struggled a little bit here lately at quarterback. 11-point game, Canadian math. With all these playmakers on the field, all the speed Miami has, I mean, these guys can break it open at any snap.
Sometimes the math can be a little bit confusing.
Concussions I've had.
Numbers a little bit smaller than you anticipated.
Percentages.
Kaya taking his time, flips it out to Dorsett, and he comes down out of bounds. It's incomplete.
And Kaya looking at it back in the pocket, even though nobody was close to him that time. Those feet were pitter-pattering. He's been hit so much. He's got to stay in there. He's got to stay relaxed. He's got to be able to take some shots to these big play receivers.
Well, and David, I would say that's the biggest difference to me watching this offense this year in this game versus what we saw last year when Stephen Morris was a quarterback. How many times did they chunk it downfield?
A lot.
That was his game.
I mean, that was his deal. And so, you know, it certainly has, it's condensed the playbook, and James Coley, the offensive coordinator, hasn't been as willing to take shots with his young true freshman quarterback.
Duke to the ground. Got an edge. Duke Johnson into Louisville territory, where he's knocked out of bounds, and a big pickup. They'll mark him out right about the 39. Pick up at 21.
There's a tremendous surge by the right side of Miami's offensive line. It's one of the few times we've seen them actually be able to seal the edge on the right side. Look, Clive Walford get a block and get his backer almost turn, giving Duke Johnson just enough time to get outside and show off that speed.
It's almost like Louisville's defense just relaxed a little bit, didn't it?
And Johnson, all of a sudden, who's been pretty quiet, is getting close to having a 100-yard night. Get Kai on the move in the pocket. He's going to throw back, and he's got a man wide open on the wheel, and it is Johnson out of the backfield, and Miami set up inside the 5. But there is a flag on the play. It's sitting back at the 36-yard line.
Ineligible downfield. Number 63 on the offense. 5 yards. First down.
I'm going to need to see this because they never, ever call this against, the zone read teams. Right?
They don't call it against the multi-zone read teams that are called run pass.
We can't.
You can't be more than 3 yards down while the quarterback has the football.
It's not 3 yards in today's football. It's like 6.
So you're saying he was way past that?
He was.
I'm saying in football, they're letting you get away with 3 every single play.
That negated a 36-yard gain, and to be fair to the officials, it was hard to tell from that angle, but when you saw the headgear of Danny Isidore, it didn't look like he was well downfield. Duke Johnson catching his breath after running that wheel route. Gus Edwards into the lineup. Let's take another look at that play that was just negated.
So the line of scrimmage is right about here. We'll take a look. 63 is going to be the guard right there. He's running down the side. He's about 2 yards behind it right now. Now he takes off upfield. Now he's at the line of scrimmage. That's 1, 2.
Where are you going, Big Fella?
It's close.
But what's the point?
That's 4. Yeah, that's.
You got to know better.
Yeah, that's just a lack of concentration. And Kaya, they're concentrating on him, and down he goes. DeAndres Mount.
When we talk about blitzing the young freshman, crunch time, you've seen Todd Grantham's defenses in the past with the blitz coming off the edge. And pressure from the inside, too.
It's good to have a guy that can complement Lorenzo Malden on the other side, right? A guy that can get after the quarterback. And Mount, who's 6'5", 240 pounds, used to play defensive end with his hand on the ground. There's athletes all over the field. So now we've got 3rd and California.
And it's been a rough series for Danny Isidora, who was back there trying to keep the rush off of Kaya unsuccessfully. Kaya throws underneath. That's Edwards. Edwards, tough running, still on his feet. Gets it down to 32, 33-yard line, so that at least...
Yep, lets you go for it.
Yeah, the wind's in favor of that direction.
Or maybe take a kick, and you can make it a one-possession game. See, I got my math right there, guys? Like that?
You got to go for it. Great, but that was great second effort to give you a chance to be able to go for this.
Yeah, no doubt. And a smart decision by Kaya, too.
Yeah,
checking the football down, nothing open downfield again.
Right. There was nobody within 20 yards of the guy either. So
you got Coley, Dorsett at the bottom of the screen.
4th and 4. Big play for the freshman. Fires it underneath, and it's knocked away. Terrell Floyd, who is shaken up earlier tonight on the coverage. And the Louisville defense stands up as we check in with Samantha. We'll check in with Samantha Ponder right after the break. Louisville gets the stop, and Al Golden's team is denied. Louisville up by 11.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn 1.5% cash back on every purchase. And in part by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Now through September 2nd. See your Lexus dealer.
Opening night in the ACC for the Louisville football program. 9 minutes and 30 seconds away from it being a winning one in the re-debut, if you will. Bob Petrino in his second stint as the Cardinals head coach. His team up by 11 just came up with a 4th down stop against Miami to get the ball back with an 11-point lead. Will Gardner making his first start, succeeding Teddy Bridgewater. Dominic Brown picks up about 1. And let's take a look at that 4th down play that the Hurricanes failed to convert.
Well, right off the top, you're going to see Dorsett here, number 4, wide open in the flat. But anyways, Kaya comes back and tries to work to Coley, and there's a miscommunication on the route with Coley. You see here, Dorsett. He had him wide open, and if he throws it to him, I think he scores.
Yeah, Louisville completely busted.
I mean, there was nobody.
No, that was man coverage, crossing route. They both went with
the other guy, and there was nobody with Dorsett.
And listen, Coley stopped on the route too. He paused just for a second over the middle of the field. He needs to keep running. He knows it's man coverage. They're trailing him. He's got to get going.
Gardner out in the flat. And the complete to Lamar Atkins, his first catch. Samantha, what do you got?
Yeah, Reese, this Miami defense was happy to get some time to rest after they came off the field. Obviously not happy to get no points on the board, but they were absolutely exhausted coming off the field. Got ice-cold towels, had trainers working with them. Even Denzel Perryman, who was the most vocal guy all game, absolutely silent on the sideline. They were happy to get a little bit of rest. Let's see if they can hold here.
Now, Sam Perryman has left it all out there. He's played a terrific game tonight. Really, the Miami defense as a whole has played pretty well. Been put in some very difficult situations. See if they can muster up a stop and give their offense another chance down a couple of possessions. Dominique Brown plowing forward, noses the football into Hurricane territory.
And you can tell they definitely put an emphasis on turnovers. You see Miami, they're coming in there trying to strip the ball out, all of them. Perryman looks like he's gassed.
Yeah. The senior from Coral Gables. First team All-ACC performer last year.
And I like what Bobby Petrino's doing here with the tempo, slowing it way down, bleeding the game clock and the play clock, letting it run all the way down, trying to suffocate Miami here. That defeats the purpose. Yeah.
Delay of game on the offense. 5 yards, 2nd down.
Wet it down all right, Jesse.
So a lot of coaching moments for Will Gardner here in his first start, guys. And he's done some really good things. He's made some beautiful throws, made some good decisions. Regardless of how this game turns out, when they put the film on, he's going to be learning from ball security issues to clock management issues. There's a lot of different things you can take away from this first start. A lot of good and bad, but I would argue more good.
Back to the ground, bouncing into the outside. Brown, he'll have enough for the first down. He's going to let Kirby know about it a little bit.
But you got to stay in bounds. You got to stay in bounds at this point. You're Dominic Brown. You understand. You're old enough. You're a senior. Trying to bleed the clock. Don't go out of bounds. Bounces it outside, and that's great vision. But right here, cut it back in. Great hit. You got Kirby on the ground, but think about clock.
Just stopped momentarily, though, because to move the chains. And at this point in the game, they're winding it once it was ready for play.
But the one thing about Miami's defense just happened right there, too, with McCord on the outside. You fire off, you stick your guy, and then you start peeking inside to try to go make a play, and you lose contain. You got these guys have to be more disciplined along the front. Stay in your gap. That works.
Yep, that's discipline from Olsen Pierre. Dominique Brown stop. ESPN College Football Primetime presented by Hampton Hotels, coming up Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The Horseshoe, Urban Meyer and the Buckeyes, who had a tough one opening day against Navy, welcoming in Frank Beamer in Virginia Tech. Beamer just got a contract extension. Texas Tech transfer Michael Brewer playing quarterback for the Hokies. Bud Foster will have that defense dialed up and ready for J.T. Barrett, the quarterback who's replacing Braxton Miller after his unfortunate injury that'll keep him out for this entire season. 2nd and 13. Dominique Brown crashes down to the 40.
Brings up an interesting point about the ACC Coastal this year, guys, and how wide open that is. A lot of people picked Miami to win that division. Remember, they've never played for the ACC championship since they joined the conference in 2005.
They did forfeit one, too.
Yeah, right, 2012 because of the sanctions they have. But, I really think the excuses are over now, though, because the sanctions are gone. And they've had 4 of the best 5 recruiting classes in the Coastal Division. Sorry, they've had the best recruiting class in 4 of the last 5 years inside the Coastal. So there's a lot of talent on this team. Quarterback question marks. Whether the defense can stay improved, I think will be big keys for whether or not they can get to the title game.
And 3rd and 7. Gardner gets it to Christian, is tied in. He stays in bounds. He'll stop it to move the chains for the first down. But the most important thing is that Louisville maintains possession, and they'll get to run some more clock.
And still mixing it up. Look at Christian acting like he's blocking it, and they're going to run it for the 3rd or 4th time in a row, and then finishing it, too, with a little bit of attitude. Is that Crawford on his
That was Dallas Crawford.
We saw him last year toting that rock.
I was going to say, when we last saw Dallas, it was at the North Carolina game. He went for over 100 yards, had the game-winning touchdown. He scored 12 touchdowns as a running back last year. Met with Al Golden and decided that be of more use as a defensive back. And they say he's really emerged as a leader on that defense.
He's got ball skills, too. He's kind of got all the things. He's physical. He's got all the things you look for. And again, for a secondary that this coaching staff needs to make more plays this season, with all the guys they have coming back outside, it certainly helps having an influence like Dallas Crawford playing at safety.
The guy's the holder on place kicks, too. Do a little bit of everything.
You just do your homework, Chris Davis.
Inside 4 minutes to play. Miami desperately needing a stop. L.J. Scott, freshman running back. Not much there. And the Hurricanes are going to use a timeout to try to conserve
Miami.
as much time as they can, since they need the ball twice. It would be most beneficial if they could, at worst, hold Louisville to a field goal here. Celebrating its 10th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. Since 2005, Allstate has contributed more than $3.4 million in scholarship funds. Those guys are hoping, at least the ones in orange, maybe not the guy painted black, but guys in orange hoping that maybe there'll be another field goal attempt here rather than a touchdown, because it's a dire situation for the Hurricanes in any light, but a touchdown would turn out the lights. 3rd and 7 here. Just barely in field goal range. Back to the ground and close to the first down, but I think Dominique Brown's going to be stopped just short. Brown has turned in the 3rd 100-yard rushing game of his career. Now he's up to 133 yards on 30 carries.
They're going to go.
4th down, just keep it.
Yeah, why not?
Put it away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the way the Miami offense is played,
yeah,
you can just eliminate any doubt if you can convert here. And if you don't, they're 80 yards away and they need it twice anyway.
I just feel a lot better if I was up 14, though.
So you'd kick it?
Why not? If you miss it, you're still right there anyways. They still got to go 80. They still got to score twice.
Unbalanced to the left. Miami didn't get that lined up right earlier tonight. Brown will get the first down, and the clock will continue to roll. Inside 3 minutes to go as Petrino's team picks up the first down.
And Brown's a load, man.
Yeah.
And he's got some good vision, too. He makes some good cuts. And then he squares his shoulders.
He's a one-cut runner. Like when he sees it, he hits it. It's funny, if I evaluate this, everyone's picked Florida State to win the ACC. And if you said to me, is Louisville ready to take on a Florida State here, a game that we're going to call on a Thursday night? I would say defensively, I really like where Louisville is. They can rush the passers. They've got tremendous speed. I like that matchup. I'm curious to see how Will Gardner continues to evolve as the season goes on, to find out if they really have a shot at beating Florida State, the national champion.
And remember, they are in the Seminoles division along with Clemson, so the Coastal Division historically has been, although Virginia Tech dominated it early, it's been a little bit more unsettled, at least in terms of power teams in recent years. So,
and you want to make Will Gardner better? Why don't you bring back one of the best receivers in college football, too? And that makes things easy on the outside, creates more space in the running game.
Him and P.J. Williams would be a great matchup. Devontae Parker versus that guy, that'll be fun to watch.
It would be right around the projected time that Parker would be ready to go by the time the Seminoles play the Cardinals. And that's a long way down the road. Dominic Brown gets down to about the 12-yard line as we're inside 2.5 minutes to go.
And the interesting thing, when you look at the schedule, too, and a lot of the key games, the timing, I think, for Louisville sets up really well. Key games against Clemson, Florida State, at Boston College, Notre Dame. They get more than a week to prepare for all of those games. And, of course, a big one against Kentucky, a rival game at the end. But it does set up pretty well, I think, for them in their first year in the ACC. Give Bobby Petrino that extra time.
Well, Petrino has never lost a season opening game. And many of those wins have been against Kentucky, both here at Louisville and last year at Western Kentucky. And this year he gets to close against the Wildcats.
Had to throw that in there at the Kentucky fans, huh?
It's just a fact. Monday Night Football kicks off the opening week of the NFL season with a doubleheader. Start with the Giants and the Lions a little after 7 o'clock Eastern time. Of course, Monday Night Countdown will get things started. And then the Chargers and the Cardinals. They'll kick off 10:20 Eastern time, scheduled September 8th. It's a game on ESPN and available on the Watch ESPN app. Brad Kaya, baptism into big-time college football. It's been a shaky one at times for the Miami quarterback. Louisville trying to put it away. Will Gardner throwing into the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Cardinals. Gerald Christian. Gerald Christian said he looked forward to this Petrino offense targeting tight ends. He's caught 6 balls tonight, and Denzel Perryman is down. And from the looks of that, we hope that's just a cramp. That's what it looks like.
There's a tremendous block here by Dominic Brown. You're going to see him just get a great job here outside. He's thrown the rock 33 times today. That is textbook cutting linebacker Raphael Kirby, giving Will Gardner an open lane and a clear window to make that easy touchdown throw to Gerald Christian.
And Gardner's all smiles, so too is Christian. Extra point awaiting as the Miami training staff attends to Denzel Perryman, who has been an absolute warrior for the Hurricanes tonight. He's made 12 tackles, 11 of them solo, 3 tackles for loss. He had a sack. Denzel Perryman is giving it everything he has, but it's still going to be back-to-back losses to Louisville for the U. While Gardner just threw that touchdown pass, they've ridden Dominic Brown tonight.
And why not? Big physical offensive line, returning a bunch of guys up there. 240 pounds coming down north-south. The ability also on Bobby Petrino's offense to go multiple, spread you out, give you different looks. But when you needed it late in this ball game, you handed it to the big fella, and he paid dividends.
But I don't think he can do that week in, week out, guys. 33 carries is a lot.
Well, Michael Dyer's banged up.
He needs to come back. You got to get L.J. Scott.
He's a big physical cat, too, now.
You do. And L.J. Scott, the true freshman, is a guy that they expect to develop, and they've got high hopes for as well. But this guy, no doubt about it, he's been a war daddy today. And again, we talk about these Bobby Petrino offenses, and everyone wants to talk about them throwing the football and the efficient quarterbacks he's coached throughout his tenure in college football. But really, here and anywhere he's been in college, it starts and ends with running the ball. And Dominic Brown's done a fantastic job tonight.
Those 33 carries are career high. So, too, are the 143 yards he's put down. And John Wallace boot through the extra point. and make it 31-13. So there are a lot of different angles to examine this game from. A successful ACC debut for Louisville. Miami, not a successful debut for Brad Kaya. They have a veteran quarterback in Jake Heap sitting over there. They're hoping to get Ryan Williams back. When you look at Miami from their standpoint, we talked a little bit about Louisville becoming a contender in the conference. What have you seen from Miami, and what type of expectations can you have for the Canes?
I know Miami has explosive playmakers on the outside. They've got weapons. I need to see improved play from the offensive line, and for me, offensively, that's the biggest question. It's the quarterback position, and what's going to happen with Brad Kaya over the next few weeks. This could be an audition. Got to find out when Ryan Williams comes back, if and when he's healthy to go. I think that position in particular, because the defense is better than I think a lot of people thought they would be.
Well, they gave up 31, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
And the offense put them in some bad situations. They put them on the field a lot, and quite frankly, wore them out in the end. The special teams put up 7. I do think the defense is better, but you can't have Duke Johnson and all these playmakers on the outside and not have the ability to get them the football. I mean, they have to do a better job at that spot. I don't know if it's a quarterback change or, you know, more options in the offense, but something has to change.
And, you know, Kaya's a talented guy, but it's asking a lot. Yeah, and he wasn't in for spring training either. A lot of times you'll see freshman quarterbacks who are at least getting to go through spring football that, you know, have a little bit better chance, but it's tough to be a freshman and make that jump to this level.
What do coaches always say? Teams make the
kickoff
biggest...
out of bounds on the kicking team. The ball was placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
I think their biggest improvements between week 1 and week 2, certainly for young players and true freshmen. Miami's got a lot of them. It's not just Brad Kaya. His team has an opportunity to grow a lot here in the next several weeks.
But yeah, this is also a really good defense.
Yeah.
I mean, really surprised that they reloaded the front 7 like they did after losing all those guys. The secondary, especially the corners, we knew were going to be good, but this Louisville defense looks for real too. Kyle will be happy to face somebody else.
We'll get to face Florida A&M.
That's going to be
Saturday. Arkansas State. It's a big play. Kyan completion to Herb Waters. But then late in September, they go to Nebraska. So he's got a couple of games to get warmed up. And Arkansas State won't be a walk in the park.
They've won 28 games in the last 3 years. And so they also got to play Cincinnati. 10 games on their schedule for bowl teams last year.
Kaya to Waters. Waters steps out of bounds.
These snaps right now, I think to a lot of people seem insignificant, but I guarantee to a young true freshman quarterback, these are all teaching moments that Al Gold and his coaching staff are going to evaluate. Any way you can get this young quarterback confidence, and right now in a 2-minute situation, you take it and you build on it. You keep working towards the next game.
And Joe Yearby is checked in at running back. Kaya to Waters. 3 catches on this drive for Herb, junior from Homestead. But the story of the night is the performance of Louisville. Bob Petrino taking over. The defenses look stout. Gardner has some size. He's played pretty well. He's at 10 of 11 passes in the second half as Waters makes another catch and gets form tackled by Terrell Floyd.
Welcome back. And by the way, that guy right there, Bobby Petrino, he's now 23-1 when playing at home as the head coach at Louisville. You just don't roll in to Papa John's Stadium, expect to waltz out of here with a victory with Bobby Petrino at the helm.
We're going to have Florida State coming here to put that to a test, throw to the end zone. Stacy Coley, and that's not the only test. I don't think that while Louisville has looked good and you think that they'll continue to grow, you see Petrino talking with Will Gardner. Grew up a Georgia Bulldog fan, was injured his senior year in high school. Some of the recruiting slacked off, and Will found a home here at Louisville. And there's Tom Jurich, the athletic director, who brought Petrino back to Louisville. Visited with us in the first half.
It's probably the nicest Petrino's been to him since he's met him.
Are you saying Bob's a little tough on his quarterbacks from time to time?
I think he's next to impossibly tough. I mean, it's tough to be a quarterback. I mean, he said he coaches them like defensive linemen. I mean, he expects a lot. They demand perfection in practice, and there's also a reason why they've had so much success.
Well, yeah. I mean,
because he makes you work every single day, makes you understand the offense, and if you don't play good, And put somebody else in there.
Garrett McGee, you saw talking to him. He talked a little bit about the philosophy, and he and Petrino have worked together for years. As Kaya's sack of making it so hard and being so demanding and so tough that when they hit tough times in games, they're not phased. I mean, it's an age-old coaching axiom, but I think that doing it with the quarterback's a little bit different. There's no coddling quarterbacks in this system.
They're great teachers of a very complex offense. This isn't one of those spread offenses where the playbook is a minute amount of plays. Just look at the track record of these coaches and their quarterbacks and how efficient they've been. Go back to Stephon LaForce here, Brian Brom, Ryan Mallett, Tyler Wilson at Arkansas. All these guys put up tremendous numbers in one games. Will Gardner has the tools. And it's tough coaching, but if you take it, you take the good. He's got a lot of skills, guys. I mean, if I'm a Louisville fan, it's one game. There's a lot more to evaluate, and you're spoiled because you've had Teddy Bridgewater. But that coach in the background, and Garrett McGee is your offensive coordinator, this Will Gardner could be a household name, not just for fans inside the state of Kentucky, but for around the country as well. They are good teachers of the quarterback position.
But I think there is a different philosophy for a lot of coaches, because a lot of times it's about building confidence. You know, kind of coddling you at the quarterback spot, but not Bobby P.
Kaya to Waters. Herb's done just about all of his work tonight on this drive. Now with 13 seconds remaining, Miami will have an opportunity to get an excuse me touchdown, which shouldn't matter to many. And false start.
False start. Offense, number 63, 5 yards. Third down.
And there's no 10-second runoff here because the clock was already stopped. You know, in the final minute, if there's an infraction that causes the clock to stop, they'd run it off. So that doesn't apply here. So there'll still be time for a couple more shots at the end zone for Al Golden's team. It's going to be a little, I don't know if heat's the right word, because I think everybody in the Miami administration is firmly on Golden's side, but the fans are ready for the Hurricanes to get over the hump. And Jesse, you mentioned it's been a difficult situation with all the uncertainty, and finally Al's out from under that. There's another flag that flies.
False start. Number 74, offense, 5 yards, third down.
Boy, I was watching the end of the Miami-Louisville game, and Ole Miss and Boise State broke out with all the false starts. See, I wanted to bookend the weekend like that, David. We saw, I think it was, Jesse, at last count, you were at Texas A&M, South Carolina. I think there were 92 false start penalties on Ole Miss that night. Is that right, Mark Armento, stats man? Oh, 91, he tells me. Kaya trying to get one on the board for the Canes. Firing into traffic, and it's picked off. Heilman has it. Is he going to look for the ground? I don't think so. He's going to look for the end zone. There's a lineman back to stop him, and he tripped up. Joseph Yearby didn't want him to rub salt into that wound, and he got Heilman on the ground, and we have a final score. A winning night in the second debut of Bob Petrino as the Louisville head coach. 31-13, the Cardinals take down Miami, and they go 1-0 in the ACC. There will be better nights for the freshman quarterback, Brad Kaya. That wraps up the first weekend of the college football season. Appreciate you being with us for our entire ESPN crew. And Samantha Ponder, David Pollock, and Jesse Palmer. I'm Reese Davis saying good night from Louisville. Sports Center is coming up.